I will discuss about an important endocrine gland which is known as thyroid gland. Thyroid gland is located in the front of our neck, just below the larynx and in front of the upper part of the trachea. Thyroid gland is butterfly shaped or H shaped with two lobes, right lobe and left lobe on either side of trachea. The lobes are connected together across the front of the trachea by a thin flap of connective tissue which is called isthmus. Though its spelling is isthmus, we will not pronounce it as isthmus. The actual pronunciation is isthmus. So, the two lobes, that is the right lobe and left lobe of the thyroid gland, are connected together across the front of the trachea by a thin flap of connective tissue which is called isthmus. There are numerous spherical or oval-shaped microscopic sacs present throughout the thyroid gland, including the right lobe, left lobe and even isthmus. In isthmus, they are fewer in number than lobes, as isthmus contains less thyroid tissue than the lobes. But these numerous spherical oval-shaped microscopic sacs are present throughout the thyroid gland, including right lobe, left lobe and even isthmus. Such spherical or oval-shaped microscopic sacs are called thyroid follicles. Each thyroid follicle is surrounded by a rich network of blood capillaries. Each thyroid follicle consists of a follicular wall which is formed by a single layer of follicular cells resting on a basement membrane. There is central lumen or cavity in thyroid follicles. There is central lumen or cavity in thyroid follicles which is filled with a protein-rich colloid whose major component is thyroglobulin, which is a large glycoprotein. This lumen is acellular, meaning it contains no cells. The follicular cells which forms the follicular wall are endocrine epithelial cells. What I have said, each thyroid follicle consists of follicular wall which is formed by single layer of follicular cells resting on a basement membrane. These follicular cells which forms the follicular wall are endocrine epithelial cells. These follicular cells are also known as thyrocytes. These follicular cells or thyrocytes, they synthesize and secrete thyroglobulin into the acellular follicular lumen. Thyroglobulin contains about 120 to 140 tyrosine residues. These tyrosine residues remain as a part of thyroglobulin molecule and not as free tyrosine molecule. These tyrosine residues act as precursors for thyroid hormones. Whenever we take iodine, it is absorbed in the form of dietary iodide. If we take table salt, it is in the form of iodide. So dietary iodide reaches the thyroid gland through blood circulation. The follicular cells take up iodide from the blood. The enzyme thyroid peroxidase oxidizes iodide to iodine. Iodine then binds to tyrosine residue on thyroglobulin to produce thyroid hormones. What are the thyroid hormones? There are two thyroid hormones. One is triiodothyronine, which is popularly known as T3, and another one is tetraiodothyronine, which is also known as thyroxine, and it is popularly known as T4. So two types of thyroid hormones are T3 and T4, triiodothyronine and tetraiodothyronine. Tetraiodothyronine is also known as thyroxine. Now only 20% of T3 and 80% of T4 are secreted by the thyroid gland. T4 acts mainly as precursor to T3. It is very important. T4 acts mainly as a precursor to T3. That means in target tissues, T4 is converted into T3. Here it needs to be mentioned that T3 is about 3 to 5 times more potent than T4. However, T3 and T4 have essentially the same physiological functions because T4 exerts most of its effect after conversion to T3. Thus, T3 is the biologically active and more potent hormone. So, in a single sentence we can say that the follicular cells synthesize T3 and T4. If you go by NCERT for appearing for a NEET undergraduate examination, you will find this single line. The follicular cells of thyroid gland synthesize T3 and T4. They didn't discuss anything about the details of this, which I have already discussed with you. Here we can conclude that as iodine is essential for synthesis of thyroid hormones, its deficiency in our diet results in hypothyroidism. Thyroid hormones play an important role in regulation of basal metabolic rate, that is BMR. These hormones are also responsible for the development and maturation of central nervous system in fetus and children. Thyroid hormones regulates carbohydrate, fat and protein metabolism. Thyroid hormones indirectly control menstrual cycle. So, whenever a patient with a thyroid disorder goes to a doctor, the doctor generally asks a female patient that whether you are facing any problem in menstruation. So, thyroid hormone indirectly control menstrual cycle. So, a patient suffering from hypothyroidism or hyperthyroidism or any thyroid disorder, they might have a menstrual problem. Thyroid hormones stimulate and support erythropoiesis, that is the process of production of RBC. Thyroid hormone increase heart rate and cardiac output. Although thyroid hormones influence the maintenance of water and electrolyte balance, but they are not the primary regulators. Why I have mentioned this? Because in NCERT, this function is also mentioned as the function of thyroid hormones. They have mentioned thyroid hormones influence the maintenance of water and electrolyte balance. But you should know that, yes, thyroid hormones obviously influence the maintenance of water and electrolyte balance, but they are not the primary regulators. Thyroid hormones, that is T3 and T4, are grouped under iodothyronine hormones. They are grouped under iodothyronine hormones. Just we have discussed about the various classification of hormones like peptide hormones. Thyroid hormones are grouped under the class iodothyronine hormones. Now, the supporting connective tissue between the thyroid follicles is called stroma. The supporting connective tissue between the thyroid follicles is called stroma. Stroma contains numerous blood capillaries, lymphatic vessels, nerves and fibroblasts. Another type of cells present in stroma are called parafollicular cells. These cells are also called C cells or clear cells. These parafollicular cells or C cells or clear cells are round, oval or polygonal in shape. Parafollicular cells are present throughout the thyroid gland, including right lobe, left lobe and isthmus. However, in isthmus they are less numerous because isthmus contains less thyroid tissue than lobes. Parafollicular cells are also endocrine cells. They secrete a peptide hormone called calcitonin. Calcitonin is also known as thyrocalcitonin. So calcitonin and thyrocalcitonin both are same. This calcitonin or thyrocalcitonin are stored within the secretory granules of parafollicular cells. Thyrocalcitonin has hypocalcemic effect. That means it lowers the calcium level in blood by depositing more calcium into the bones and reducing the reabsorption of calcium in kidneys, resulting in more calcium loss in urine. That means thyrocalcitonin or calcitonin has hypocalcemic effect. It lowers the calcium level in blood. When we will discuss about parathyroid gland after this part, we will see that the parathyroid gland secretes a peptide hormone called parathyroid hormone, which is also known as parathormone. This hormone increases the calcium level in blood. Thus it shows hypercalcemic effect, which is opposite to that of thyrocalcitonin. Thyrocalcitonin is hypocalcemic, but parathyroid hormone or parathormone, it is hypercalcemic. It is hypercalcemic. It shows hypercalcemic effect. Thus, thyrocalcitonin, which is secreted from the thyroid gland, and parathyroid hormone, which is secreted from the parathyroid gland, play a significant role in calcium homeostasis in blood. So this is all about thyroid gland, which you should know to appear to NEET undergraduate.